Hello and welcome to TechSpace Africa. My name is Nigel, and I'm your host for today's episode, where we dive into the latest innovations shaping the future of Africans fintech space. Today, we have a particularly very exciting topic, one that blends innovation, creativity, and a passion for solving real world problems. We are talking about the TBD Hackathon. Maybe you've heard it, maybe you heard about it. It's an initiative designed to drive technological advancements in payments across Africa using the TBDex open source protocol. So, whether you are a tech enthusiast, maybe you are an entrepreneur, or maybe you're just curious about how technology can transform financial systems in Africa, this episode is for you. So, to help us unpack all of this, I'm thrilled to introduce our guest today. Her name is Angie Jones. So, from what I've figured out, Angie is the Global Vice President of Developer Relations for TBD. So, that is like one of the newest business units, which you might remember as Square. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so TBD is on a mission to create open and decentralized technologies that connect the financial world. And I think Angie is the right person to have here to tell us all about this. So, welcome, Angie.
Thank you so much.
So, you can start by telling us what you do over at TBDex,
Yeah, sure.
TBD.
So, as you mentioned, TBD is one of the newest business units within Block, and we focus on open source and decentralized technologies. And so, one of our projects is TBDex, which is an open source protocol that helps payment applications talk to financial institutions in a decentralized way. So, you don't need to go through an intermediary. And we feel like this really opens up a lot of opportunities.
All right. So I have one main question, which is going to be my first question, and it's about the hackathon because it's what I was told to focus on mostly. So, what exactly is the TPD hackathon?
Yeah, so the hackathon is focused on using the TBDex open source SDK. And the task is for individuals to build a payment application, think maybe a wallet app that integrates with liquidity providers and facilitates payments to those to recipients on the other end. So that's what the hackathon is all about. It's really interesting because it's utilizing some newer kind of open standards and technologies such as verifiable credentials. And so it's really a wonderful learning opportunity where people can learn about new technologies, but also help to solve real problems on the continent.
All right. So, when will this be happening? The hackathon.
Yeah, it's live right now, and
Okay.
the submissions are actually due on the 15th of September. So in not too long, not too much longer to go.
All right. So, who should apply uh, for the hackathon?
Yeah, so we allow pairs of two, so you can work by yourself or you can team up with someone. So it's mostly targeted towards developers who are able to create, payment applications. We have multiple SDKs available, so some people are choosing to do web applications. Some people are choosing to do mobile applications, but like one person on the team should be a developer, but we're seeing some developers pair with business folks or UX designers or things like that to make sure like they have a broad coverage of their app.
All right. So from what I'm getting is you've got very good uptake up to now, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. There's lots of interest there. TBD actually visited the continent earlier this year, and so we stopped by multiple countries and held workshops, and there was lots of excitement on the continent for this technology. And so yeah, we're continuing to see that same momentum throughout the hackathon.
Yeah, speaking of the payment landscape in Africa, so the fact that TBD is focusing on Africa,
Hmm.
maybe you could tell us why Africa, and you could start by giving us maybe an overview of what you've seen the current challenges in
Mm,
the payment systems in Africa right now that you think
yeah.
should be solved and could be solved by developers coming and applying for this hackathon, and
Right, right. Yeah. So, like I mentioned, we were there earlier this year. We went a couple of times last year as well. Just really talking to people on the ground to understand some of the challenges there. The continent has such a dynamic and young population, and with a high rate of mobile phone usage, but there's still this huge number of people who don't have access to like your traditional banking services. So, we believe that open source, decentralized technologies can help solve some of these challenges and improve financial inclusion for those who may not have access to the banking services. So, yeah, we're focused on creating solutions that make it easier, make it faster, make it cheaper for people to participate in the global economy. And when I went to visit the continent, I needed to hire a videographer. I wanted them to capture my first time there. And I had challenges sending him the money from the US, to do that work. And I sent them the money before I came. There was no payment app that I could use to easily send him the money. All of the apps I had did not support, this country in Africa. It was Nigeria, actually. And so I sent the money by bank transfer. I flew over to Nigeria. I was there for a week. He did beautiful work. I flew all the way back home to the US, and the money still hadn't arrived, right? And so these are the challenges that we're talking about. Like, why is it so difficult? Why does it take so long to send money from one country to another?
Yeah, I do have the same kind of problems mostly when I'm working with people outside of Africa, and
That's right.
it's pretty annoying. So
Yeah.
you would say this is the biggest challenge that most critical for economic growth in Africa. Yes.
Right, right. We realize that, essentially a lot of people on the continent are excluded from the global economy, and with so many entrepreneurs and innovators on the continent, they have told us that they, are interested in this kind of international reach, and yet they're prohibited from doing so because of these challenges.
Yeah, so another question I have, and maybe this is a little bit off topic. When we say there are less people who are not using traditional banking, would you say these people are not using crypto as well? Because I think crypto is bridging this gap between these boundaries.
Hmm.
So would you say it's not well adopted in Africa, or is this not a challenge?
So TBDex allows for even fiat to fiat transfer. So like if I was sending my USD to Naira, what happens behind the scenes is that a financial institution can choose to utilize Bitcoin or cryptocurrency or whatever means they choose behind the scenes. So I don't need to, as a user, be familiar with cryptocurrency. I don't need to hold it or anything like that. It's happening behind the scenes to move the currency from move the money from one currency to another.
All right. So, talking about this vision that TBD has in transforming payments, yeah, how does
Mhm.
this company aim to address these challenges now that you have addressed, and you have said that you have actually experienced yourself in the continent using this protocol, the TBDex protocol?
Yeah, so at its core, TBDex is a decentralized protocol. It's open. It allows payment applications and liquidity providers to interact directly. So without needing any intermediaries in between. So what this means is that the transaction should be faster. It should be lower cost because you don't have these middlemen kind of taking a cut every step of the way. So TBDX is all about fostering a efficient and inclusive financial ecosystem. And so it's really flexible. Like I mentioned, the liquidity providers are free to move the money as they see fit. TBDX doesn't move money. It's just a communication protocol that enables the payment apps and the liquidity providers to communicate in a standardized way. So it's designed to be accessible, and this makes it ideal for encouraging innovation in areas like Africa where, traditional financial services might not always be the best fit.
All right. Okay, that makes sense. But I'm guessing there are a lot of protocols out there. So can you explain how TBDex stands out in this crowded field of payment solutions, and why someone would go and choose TBDex over all those other Dex protocols?
Yeah, so TBDex is open, right? And that's one of the ways we stand out from your traditional rails today. It's open up protocol, it's open standards, it's open source. Everything about it is very transparent. The other thing is it's like kind of payment applications can essentially build their own like network of liquidity providers. So you can think of this kind of plug and play scenario where um if I'm a wallet application, and let's say that right now I'm limited to the country that I reside in.
Mm-hmm.
I want to expand my business to other markets, other companies, other currencies, right? But I don't have that liquidity on hand.
Mm-hmm.
The TBDex makes this really easy for those payment applications to do. Essentially, all you would need is the identifier of a liquidity provider who is also on the network, and you can plug them into your application. So, just like that, you now can offer your customers reach into these other markets. So, you can
Okay.
pick and choose which of these liquidity providers you would like to add to your application.
Okay. You mentioned identifiers. So I'm guessing these are the
Mhm.
decentralized identifiers, yes?
Yes, that's right.
So how does the use of these identifiers and maybe other things like verifiable credentials enhance security and trust in transactions? Because when we are talking about finance and money, the first thing that comes to mind is security.
Yeah, that's right. And so the decentralized identifiers and the verifiable credentials are key components of the TBDX protocol. The verifiable credentials enable uh, liquidity providers to be certain that the customer that they're serving, meets their regulatory compliance obligations. For example, let's say that a liquidity provider needs to do KYC, which is know your customer,
Hmm.
before serving a customer, right? And
Yeah.
so they do the KYC. What they can do after they complete that process is issue that customer a verifiable credential that says, I've done KYC on you, right?
Hmm.
So, why is this important in the network? Well, like I said, the TBDex network or ecosystem is a plug and play type of situation. So, what that means is that a liquidity provider can have a presence in dozens, hundreds, thousands of payment applications, right? In the background.
Hmm.
And so you don't want to have to reperform KYC anytime you interface with a customer in any of these different apps, right? Right
Yeah.
now, if we think about the web, every time I need to go to a platform or a new application, what do? I need to recreate a profile, an identity of myself, right? And so if this payment application is in the background, they of these different wallet apps, then each time you go to these different wallet apps, essentially a new person to that liquidity provider. It doesn't carry over. But if they issue me this verifiable credential, I can then present that credential again if I see that liquidity provider in another payment application. So I don't need to undergo KYC again, right? And so it doesn't move you away from the processes that are in place today, where you definitely need to perform your KYC. You definitely need to do your due diligence from a compliance perspective. But what it does is help streamline that process by, issuing out credentials that can be reused across different transactions and across different applications, right? So if one payment app, say for example, has done a sanctions check on me and presented that to a liquidity provider that says, yes, she's okay, I should be able to reuse that check. You know what I mean? If I need to work with another liquidity provider or do another transaction, I don't want anyone to have to do a sanctions check on me every time I want to send money.
All right. So that makes it very easy to
Yeah.
transact. Yeah.
Yes.
Uh, I want to talk about the market focus and the applications of this stuff. Which markets and user groups do you see TBDex impacting the most in Africa? Because first you talked about how you came to the continent and faced this kind of problem with a freelancer. Do you think maybe these are the most people who will benefit from this, you know, protocol? Do you think
Mhm.
it's a developer thing, and do you think maybe it's developers strictly who are going to benefit mostly from this?
Yeah, I think everyone benefits. Our tools are targeted towards developers because we don't have we don't have a payment application that we're selling, or a liquidity provider. These are just the tools that enable developers to build those applications to solve the challenges that they see. So in speaking with people on the continent, we heard of several different use cases where this would become in handy and be beneficial. So things like remittances, right? So if I need to send money home, I have several people that live outside of Africa now, but they like to
Hmm.
send money home every week, to their family and their loved ones. And so this is a great use case for the protocol. Also payment, business to business sorts of situations, right? And so there's employers who may have employees in other countries, and they want to be able to easily do, payroll. This could help in those sorts of situations, as well as trade. We've even heard those use cases where, I'm buying products from different countries, but sending the payments is such a difficult, laborious task. And so here's a solution for that as well. So lots of different use cases. And I think even if you aren't a developer per se, you can still benefit from this because it just makes sending money across borders simpler.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
makes it faster. It's reducing transaction fees for you. All of those are benefits to your everyday person.
All right. So, like we said, it's a bit new, this whole thing. But can you share any success stories or early use cases where TBDex has made a very significant impact, and something that people can go out and look for and see?
Yeah, so TBDex is very new. It was released only a couple of months ago. And so right now, and that's one of the focuses of the hackathon, is to help people on board. So there's lots of interest in the protocol, and now it's time to build. And so we're seeing companies like Yellow Card and Chipper Cash, who
Mm-hmm.
serve the African continent, and we're seeing them start to integrate with the protocol right now as
Okay.
liquidity providers. And so as they stand up and they have currencies for 22 different countries on the continent, we're encouraging innovators and developers to build payment applications that connect with those liquidity providers.
Okay, so I actually didn't know you were working with such big startups and fintech companies. So I actually thought this was like specifically for small teams who had not come up yet. So that's pretty interesting and very nice. Another
Thank
question, because we are now going back to this hackathon, and what inspired TBD to launch, this hackathon, and why was it important now to focus? You have said you are focusing on strictly these developers and maybe these fintech companies.
Yeah, so the main goal of the TBD Hackathon is for developers to build innovative payment apps that integrate with our TBDex protocol. So we want participants to dive into hands-on experiences with things that we talked about, like the decentralized identifiers and the verifiable credentials, so they can see for themselves how they can help build trust and make financial transactions more accessible. So we're really hoping to see projects that not only solve real world problems, but also have the potential to be scaled and implemented, very widely.
All right. So, and how does this initiative align with your company's broader mission of connecting the financial world through open and decentralized technologies?
Yeah, so Block's overall, mission is economic empowerment. And so we fall directly in line with that. We have solutions across Block that focus on different types of customers, right? So it could be whether that be Square seller or whether that be musicians with title or peer-to-peer transactions with Cash App. So TBD is focused on the developer community, right? And so enabling them to build solutions such as payment applications. And like I said, it's an open ecosystem. And so you really have a wide range of how you can utilize these tools to solve the problems that you're looking to solve, by building this payment application and being able to connect with liquidity providers around the world. You can build your own kind of mini network that solves exactly the challenges that you're trying to solve without you needing to acquire the liquidity yourself as a developer or a company. You know what I mean? So you can connect
Yeah.
with these different liquidity providers who offer different currencies, whether that be your fiat currencies or whether that be cryptocurrencies, whatever problem you're trying to solve and whatever market you're trying to reach, these tools can help you to do so. And so one of the benefits is that, I mean, you can do that today, but I need one to like contact. Let's say if I wanted to connect with Yellow Card outside of TBX, I need to get in touch with someone over there. I need to
Hmm.
see what's their API. I need to then, work with that API. And then if I want to add chipper cash, I would need to do that same process, a whole different API. And so it becomes like really difficult to do these one-off integrations. What what TBDex is solving here is that, hey, here is a standard communication language for
Hmm.
for wallet applications and for liquidity providers, where you only need to implement once, and anyone who is speaking this language can integrate quite easily.
All right. So um, it's like you're acting as the middleman between like all these developers and all these other companies where they would want to work with and integrate.
I wouldn't even call it a middleman because, that's one of the things that we're trying to get around is all of these middlemen. So it's essentially just a language, a way to communicate. You don't have to call us. It's all open source. We don't need to be involved at all. Just download the library,
Uh-huh.
find the ID for the liquidity provider that you are interested in connecting with, and do so. And that's it.
All right. So now that we are speaking this developer language, maybe we should go into the details for the hackathon challenge. Say, this
Yeah.
is you're talking about talking to the developers directly, and you could walk us through the specifics of this hackathon challenge. Who is it uh, addressed? Who should apply, and what should they have, and what participants expected to build, and what resources will be available, and what resources do they need before coming into this hackathon.
Yeah, okay. So the hackathon is open now. The submissions are due the 15th of September. So you can start right now. You would go to tbdex.io/hackathon. In the hackathon, your task is to create a payment application that integrates with liquidity providers. So we provide a sandbox of 5 liquidity providers. So no worries, you're not moving real money. So you can actually explore and test things out without fear of losing any money or anything
Mm-hmm.
like that. And so with this, we introduce you to the concepts of, KYC credentials, and how you would integrate with the TBDex protocol, how you would connect with liquidity providers. So you see firsthand all of the steps that are involved to do so. You get experience in this, fun, lighthearted way. And we, as far as resources, we're really committed to helping participants succeed. So we've put together a lot of resources. There's detailed documentation, there's video tutorials, there's
Mm-hmm.
example code available all on our hackathon site, which is tbdex.io/hackathon. Plus, our developer advocates are ready to help out through our Discord server. So whether, it's technical questions or you just need some inspiration to continue pushing through, we're here to support developers every step of the way.
All right. So you'll get provided a sandbox, and you'll support these
Yes,
participants all through in developing these
that's right.
applications. Yeah. Oh, okay, okay, okay.
That's
So
exactly
what?
right. And then, I'm
Uh-huh.
sorry. After the 15th of September is when we choose the semifinalists, who
Mm-hmm.
then will create like a virtual video presentation of their project. And then the finalists will be flown to Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya, for
Mm-hmm.
Africa Bitcoin Conference. And at
Okay.
Africa Bitcoin Conference, they then have the opportunity to pitch their projects to a panel of judges.
All
So
right.
really exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. So, but before the finalists, and before we talk to these people who think they are going to win, what impact does TBD hope to achieve through this hackathon? Like when both for the participants, like all of them now, even those who don't win, yeah, and the broader African tech ecosystem.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so we're really hoping to see some game-changing solutions come out of this. So you can
Mm-hmm.
imagine like mobile payment platforms that don't rely on traditional banks, right? Enabling people to participate in the global economy easily, or systems that make cross-border money transfers faster and cheaper. So that the hackathon is really a chance to kickstart some ideas that could lead to more inclusive and secure financial systems across the continent.
All right. So the particular areas of payment innovation that you want to see addressed, maybe mobile payments. All right, because we've seen, as a person in the continent, we've seen a lot of fintechs uh,
Mm-hmm.
built to fail. You can see this. They are offering no actual real use case, and they are being you know brought up just to make some money, make funds, and then shut down. So I hope we actually see a real impact now. So in,
Yeah,
you
and
you.
I think one of the keys to this one specifically is the cross border piece. So
Mhm.
um while we were on the continent, we met with lots of builders who like you mentioned, that they had payment apps and things of that nature, but a lot of them were just kind of domestic payment apps, which is great. The real challenge comes when you start trying to move money across borders into different countries.
Okay. So you said after 15th of this month, yes?
Yes.
We are going to have the finalists. Why was Kenya chosen as the host location for the Africa Bitcoin conference? And how does the conference complement the goals of this hackathon? And why is it called the Africa Bitcoin conference?
So I can't speak on why is it called that. It's not our conference, but we are hosting the hackathon at the Africa Bitcoin conference, which
Oh,
is
okay.
a huge deal for us. This conference, I've been to it twice now. This conference
Okay.
is such a hub for financial innovation in Africa, and it's the perfect place to connect with like-minded community members that are passionate about using technology to solve real world problems. So this conference, I must say, the attendees there, the organizers, the sessions, they're very much so focused on real world challenges, right? I've been to other Bitcoin and cryptocurrency conferences before that, as you allude to, they're focused on making money. That's not what this conference is about. They're very much so focused on how can we solve problems on the continent using, this new currency and this new technology. So by being there, we're not only showcasing the potential of TBDex, but we're also engaging directly with developers and innovators who are serious about solving the problems that they see in their communities and who can take these tools like TBDex and run with them.
All right. All right. So what can finalists expect when they pitch, their projects at this conference? Seeing as you've said you've been to a couple of them. Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got a diverse panel of judges. So we have engineers, product managers, policy experts, even CEO of Yellow Card will be one of the judges at the Africa Bitcoin conference. So that's really exciting. And these judges will be looking at the project from all angles. So technical execution, the business viability, the user experience, right? And so the goal here is to find solutions that are not only technically sound but also practical, right? They're user friendly. I don't As a user, I don't care about all of these terms, verifiable credentials, decentralized identity, and what happens in the background. I might not even want to be exposed to cryptocurrency at all. And
True.
so how are you building this so that it's a seamless user? All I care about is I need to send money home to my family. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
how do you make that easier for a user to do? Now the finalists, like I said, they're going to present their projects at the conference. This won't be too bad. This will be a few judges there, and you already have created your project in one of the previous rounds, so you're just coming and presenting it in person, but you also get to enjoy the conference. So there's a lot going on at the conference. There's a developer day there and workshops and things like that. So you get your flight and your hotel and a little spending money to really enjoy yourself at the conference. But then of course you also present your project there as well. And so from there we'll select the top 3 teams to share a prize pool of 30,000 US dollars paid out in Bitcoin.
All right. So as we wrap up, maybe you have a message. What message do you have for these developers and innovators who are listening right now, and are thinking maybe this is the right fit for me?
Yeah, I said go for it, right? This is a unique opportunity to make a real impact. The challenges that you're going to face are real, but so are the opportunities to bring meaningful change to your community, right? And so the deadline again is the 15th of September. So don't waste any time talking yourself out of it. Just do it. We have lots of resources to help you out with the project. Don't hesitate to ask for help. Our team is here to support you, and we really can't wait to see the creativity and the solutions that come out of this hackathon. And again, you can find all of the details at tbdex.io/hackathon.
All right. So you've mentioned the 15th of September. What are some other key dates that these developers should keep in mind? And maybe you can tell us where they can, get more info even before joining. Maybe some documentation or something like that.
Yeah. So if you go to tbdex.io/hackathon, there's everything you need. So there's, of course, a description of the hackathon itself, but also the schedule of events. And so you asked, like, what are some other deadlines? The 15th of December is when the submissions are due, and then the semi-finalists will be chosen by mid-October and announced. And then, of course, they create their video presentations, and then we'll choose the finalists by November the 4th.
All
And then
right.
the Africa Bitcoin Conference is December 9th through the 11th,
Okay.
is
Okay.
when they'll be at the conference. Yes.
All right. So thank you, Angie. Maybe you can, in like about 5 minutes, take 5 minutes to recap the some of the main points you think people should focus on about this hackathon, and its importance, because I feel it's a very important thing that is happening in Africa, because a lot of creators and innovators in Africa who have not got these kind of opportunities before. So you can tell them
Yeah.
about how this will be innovative, and how it will help the African financial landscape at general. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So TBDex, again, is an open protocol. It allows payment applications to directly communicate with financial institutions without intermediaries in the middle. We've developed this protocol as well as implementations of the protocol in the form of software developer kits. These developer kits are available in TypeScript, in Kotlin, and Swift, so you can make your applications in desktop or mobile platforms. And what you're going to do in this hackathon is connect with a sandbox of liquidity providers, and you're going to build a payment application that would allow customers to basically send money or do exchanges or whatever they see fit with these liquidity providers in the background. You have a wonderful opportunity to learn about, the underlying technology, which is really innovative, and we're going to start seeing it mainstream. I strongly believe things like verifiable credentials, which enable you to transact in a secure way and make sure that you're meeting the compliance obligations from the liquidity providers. And so the hackathon is open right now. You can start building today. You can find all of the information at tbdex.io/hackathon. Also, links to our Discord is there as well. And we already have a community of builders in there. They're encouraging each other. They're helping each other out. They're asking questions, and we're in there with them in the trenches, making sure they stay inspired and they have all of the things that they need in order to be successful with the hackathon. And so really, really excited about this. It's a wonderful opportunity to not only learn new technology, but also solve real challenges that you're seeing on the continent, right? And we're not stopping at the hackathon. We want to continue supporting innovation through, educational workshops, ongoing events. We also have a incubation program that offers mentorship and resources to help startups that are using open source projects. So if you start building this app and you realize, hey, I have something on my hands here and I want to productize it, then we're here to help you do that as well. We're looking to build long-term relationships with developers and help them to bring their ideas to life. So there's lots of ways to stay involved. You can join our online community on Discord. Since our projects are open source, people are welcome to contribute to them. And even if you don't want to contribute, you can just use them free of charge. And also keep up with us. We have updates on our social media, our newsletter, and our website, which is tbdex.io. So, yeah, we'll be hosting more events, providing more educational content to help developers keep learning and innovating with TBDex and other technologies that we're working on.
Thank you, Angie. So for those who don't know, Angie is not just any guest. She brings a wealth of experience and expertise to this African continent, which needs it daily. So she's an award-winning teacher. That is right.
Yes.
Yeah, and she's an international keynote speaker, and she has over 27 patents to her name. So I wanted to talk about yourself and how how you feel working at TBDex, and
Hmm.
the things you've achieved, and maybe give some motivation. Maybe not even talking about the hackathon per se, but from your own uh, experience.
Yeah. So thank you for that. Yeah, I've been in tech for decades now, and I love working on innovative solutions, that will help make an impact in the world. And so that's why I'm here at TBD. Like you mentioned, I have, over 25 patents. So I'm always at the cutting edge of what's new and what's innovative. And so TBD is definitely doing that. And really,
Fortunately, Angie was cut off there while she was giving us her final remarks. But so if you're a developer, maybe you've seen sending money across borders is slow, painful. You can go to TBDex, that is tbdex.io/hackathon, where they will provide you with assistance. They will provide you with a sandbox where you can build maybe a digital wallet. Maybe it's something, anything. They have their own SDK, and if you want incentive, the finalist will get a flight, hotel, stipend, and the conference ticket to attend to the African Bitcoin conference where they will pitch. And the first place will get $15,000 in Bitcoin, and the second place will get $10,000 in Bitcoin as well, and the third place will get $5,000 in Bitcoin. So if you're a developer and you want to, and you've been looking for a chance to build in this fintech space, something that is impactful and something that is nice, you don't need any more incentive. So thanks for listening, and catch you in the next one.